The greatest complaints that I get about people trying to use the ketogenic diet to lose weight is they fail, they fall, or they stall. Now, a big reason for the failures is these people are making some serious mistakes when using the ketogenic diet. People want to look and feel better, and the ketogenic diet can get them there. But without the foundational understanding of the science behind why keto works, they will fall into one of these three buckets. Let's talk about failure. If you have failed to get through the first week of a ketogenic diet, you're probably over the age of 40, and you probably have some hidden medical problems that you didn't even know you had. Like most of my patients, they will do a great job of following the rules and they'll crash into ketosis. But that first week of hardcore keto will pull back a curtain and reveal problems, they didn't even know they had. Why does this happen? Because they're not properly prepared to deal with this chemistry shift. And if they're not careful, some of those symptoms can be horrible, like enough to send them to the emergency room. If you've watched me on the internet, you'll see that there's one theme through those stories or science-based lessons that I've tried to share. And that is, I want to explain why a medical problem happens so that you can prevent it from happening in the future. And that goes for this first week of ketosis. You have to be prepared. I have a prep phase when I engage people in starting in the ketogenic diet. That phase is not long, but is a requirement for the patients who have been 20 pounds or more overweight, or if they have a list of medical problems listed here. If you've tried the ketogenic diet but failed in the first week, I strongly recommend that you do this prep phase. What's the most important part of the prep phase? It's to count carbs before you start. I recommend this app called the Cronometer app. The Cronometer app helps them learn how to count carbohydrates, something I don't want them learning in the first few days of ketosis. If their daily consumption of carbohydrates is anywhere near 200 or north of that, I call this my 200 club. And for the 200 club, I ask them to count carbohydrates and keep them at 100 for 1 week before they start the ketogenic journey. If they're really struggling by identifying some of those carbs that they might be addicted to, I'll step them down to 80 for the next week. During these 2 weeks where they're learning to count carbs and cutting down gently, I will ask them to prepare for a couple other major mistakes that I see on the ketogenic journey. During that 2 weeks of reduced carbohydrates, I ask them to get personal. I ask them to look into why they want better health. And if they have a flippant answer like lose a few pounds, get off a couple prescription medications, that's nice, but I tell them to dig deeper. This critical step matters. Addiction to carbohydrates is real, and most people do not realize it until they're on the other side of the third or fourth week. If we're going to get them through that tough time, they have to have a strong foundation for why they're making these changes. The next step is to measure several metrics. People going through the 200 club, I have them do this during the 2 weeks where they're lowering carbs gently. But I ask everyone to fill out these charts. Most of these can be done at home, and several of these tests are point of care, meaning you can order the tests and do them at your house. There are a few that require a visit to the doctor, and especially if they have medical problems, that's where I want their doctor engaged in what they're doing. The next big mistakes all happen in the first week of going keto. What do I mean by going keto? I mean when they truly lower their carbohydrate intake to 20 total carbs or less. The next landmines all come if they're not documenting what's going on. These pages are the examples of what I hand patients to fill out during the first week. These handouts are simple, but they are so critical for the patient to document their problems and to be able to report back to me what's happening. So now let's go from failures to falls, landing at the end of the first week of a keto transition without complications from your bowels, your brain, or your breath separates you from the pack. It's a total win. After arriving on the other side of that transition, that keto adaptation is right around the corner, and that's where really awesome things start to happen, like the reversal of many medical problems. But that transition into keto adaptation happens at a different pace for different people. It often depends on how much weight they have added to their body, how long they've been overweight, and what other medical problems have been acquired inside their system, whether or not they know about them or not. Fully arriving at that keto-adapted state is going to require a tribe, a group of people that can support you, answer your questions, encourage you when you're having a tough day, and help you give yourself some grace when you screw it up. This support system is a critical step and something that I facilitate through my clinic and through the support groups across the country. When patients surround themselves with others that are struggling and learning how to adapt a new behavior, they succeed together. The secret is in the group. The final field of landmines for the ketogenic diet happen in the name of stalls. Stalls are found when people don't have a roadmap of where they're going with the ketogenic journey. They want autophagy, they want a stronger metabolism, they want that youthful energy, but they do not have any idea how to get it. Staying consistently keto is a far better plan than any prescription I can write you for those chronic medical problems. However, you need a solid strategy to get there. And that's where I introduce them to the Keto Continuum. As you end that transition near the end of week 1 and beginning of week 2, you will land on Keto Continuum number 2. And this is where the steps to grow keto adapted are outlined, one step after the next. This map, called the Keto Continuum, educates them on where the next steps are and what those landmines are for people who have tried to get through this next phase. They can see where they're at on the keto continuum and if the stage they're at in their life matches the commitment that's needed for the next level. If not, stay at the current keto continuum until you're ready. One of the biggest mistakes is when they're at a level of the keto continuum and they jump down several numbers on the keto continuum. Bam! They fall off the wagon and crash their progress. Improving your metabolism has a steady, measurable, methodical process. Following the keto continuum and stressing your metabolism when it fits into your life guarantees success. I need them to study their behavior and document the patterns that they're using to cope with stress and the progress they're making on the keto continuum. As they gather that documentation, often the patient recognizes the problem before I ever have to point it out. They can see their behavior because they document. And that is a critical step to the success that I see for the long game on keto. The first thing that I cover in my online course, Consistently Keto, is the prep phase. And I review exactly who needs to be doing that and why. The second part of that online course delivers the exact handouts that I use in my clinic to get them through the first week. There are short videos of the things that I tell patients as I guide them step by step. The third module of the course is keto adaptation, and not everybody gets there at the same rate. So those videos and handouts are ready and available when the patient is ready to move on. The best part about the course is the neurons. This is a support group of people that all use the Keto Continuum and these science-based lectures to stay consistently keto. If you'd like to become a neuron, check out the course in the link below. I'll see you inside the course and on the next video.